From a grocery store in Buffalo to an elementary school in Uvalde, Texas, and just this weekend, the mall in Greenwood, Indiana. We've been seeing a series of mass shootings all across our country. But how would LMPD here locally respond to a mass shooter in a building in Louisville? Tonight, the police chief Erika Shields and department leadership explained to Metro Council how officers are trained to react. WHS 11's Ford Sanders covered the meeting as LMPD reacted to the police response in Texas, and Ford is here now with the story. Ford?
Yeah, well, Chief Shields says when it comes to their response in terms of mass shooting preparedness, she feels confident in their plan. But she also says she was alarmed by recent responses from law enforcement in Uvalde, Texas.
We're seeing so many more areas become targets.
Mass shootings in schools, churches, grocery stores, the list goes on. Louisvillian Whitney Austin is a mass shooting survivor herself.
I had no idea how many times I had been shot while in the moment.
She agrees with the chief. The next mass shooting can land anywhere.
For any agency who thinks that it wouldn't happen to them, that's arrogant, and you're not doing your community a service.
LMPD Chief Erika Shields says she pledges that her department won't be the type that sits and waits in a crisis, noting the response, or lack thereof, in Uvalde, Texas.
The Border Patrol failed, the DEA failed, the Marshals failed. I mean, it's nauseating. We have to be the best trained and know that we know what we're doing.
Shields wants to see more training, rifles to more officers, and she wants to end the practice of waiting for four-man police teams before entering.
That has been out the window. That shouldn't even still be in our policy, and it is. People have to know you have a gun and a badge and a vest for a reason. Get in there.
Louisville's Whitney Austin remembers the day in 2018, arriving to work in Cincinnati, talking on her cell phone when she accidentally walked into a mass shooting happening in her bank building.
I had been shot 12 times.
Austin says the swift actions from law enforcement is what saved her life.
I am alive because of the heroics of the Cincinnati Police Department, but also because of the skill and training of the Cincinnati Police Department.
She says she feels encouraged by what LMPD is pledging, but also notes that it starts at the source, not just when mass violence happens.
If we can recognize the warning signs and get someone help, we can not only prevent mass violence, but we can also help that person.
For Chief Shields, she says training is top of mind for her and her department, and they don't intend to let up. And Austin also tells me one of the big takeaways she would recommend is for LMPD to continue to work with those experts, do the research, and make sure they're ready should anything like this ever happen here.
Well, Ford, Chief Shields also allowed some of the other officers from the police department to speak today about all this. They're on the front lines of the force. What did they say?
Yeah, well, Lieutenant Lauder with the SWAT team actually explained that they have gear, they've got first aid kits, and even robots like drones and other things that they can implement should something like this happen. Now, he also notes that they still have work to do in making sure their officers continue to be equipped properly. Doug?
All right, Ford, thank you very much.